Morning, gentlemen.
Morning, how are you,
Yeah,
Jeff?
good, good.
As you can see, I'm not Amar, but I'm sat in his spot, so I'm
You
off
sat
for
in
the
the hot
day.
seat.
I I'm off for the day.
Good. How you all doing?
Good. It's been an interesting week for us, Jeff. We've had a lot happening around Airview. I'm sure Amar's given you all the details on everything that's happening. A lot of people flying in to the country, a lot of international business opportunities. So yeah, it's been a long week and can't wait for the weekend and it's here. So all good.
Good, good. And so, do you want to share with? Are you able to share some of those things with the listeners?
Yeah, absolutely. So big news for the region, for Newcastle and beyond. We've set up a 10,200 square feet business hub called the International Space Station at the Airview, right by the airport. So the ISS Airview aims to bring about businesses and global business from all across the Middle East, the EMEA region, the US, Netherlands, and everyone to have strategic partnerships, have strategic setups here within the Northeast that not only gives them the support that they would need from a scale-up perspective, but also give them the encouragement and almost an approach for collaboration. So usually we come across a lot of businesses that are just starting off and don't know how to proceed in the best way possible. They're not very comfortable, or they're not very well aware of where they need to set up and how they should start off their business. So ISS Airview is going to be that one point and one-stop shop for everyone to scale up successfully, bringing about startups, bringing about investors, and bringing about international students all to collaborate in one area and fostering a lot of growth. So almost being the first of its kind sandbox approach, which brings these three elements all together in one place. So exciting times ahead for us, and very excited to see how this goes.
Good. Would it be the case then, Kevin, in the type of setup and the fact that you've got this international kind of approach to setting up small businesses? Could it be the case, I'm just thinking out loud, where you have a idea for a product, where
Yeah.
let's say that you have an idea for a product, you know that yes, there's an opportunity in Newcastle, the Northeast, to begin that product, but could it be the case that that particular product may lend itself to being having a bigger market internationally as opposed to locally? Have you thought about that in your business plan? And
Definitely, and that's the beauty of it. Bringing about, so we aim and aspire to bring about 150 plus businesses within the facility. So that leads to a lot of collaboration and cross collaboration. So a lot of these businesses may go into strategic partnerships that open out a lot of new markets for them, possibly even result in a couple of spin-offs that could then further, increase our offerings, increase our support, as well as give us some opportunities on developing further relationships with other units and markets. So definitely a wide scope around that.
excellent. Sounds amazing.
Absolutely is.
Whereabouts is this based, Kevin?
So it's just by the airport. So you can't really miss it. It's on the way to the airport. We've got a facility of about 4 buildings as of now. So it's marked by this massive banner that says Airview. And we're the first building. We're Unit 1. So we're right on the view while you're going towards the airport.
Excellent. And the exciting news for ABC is that we're looking to move into the building as well. So it'll be quite nice to move into a brand new spanking building that then, like you say, has got all of those links, the business links, the foreign collaboration hub that it's going to be in terms of work and great news for the Northeast as well.
Yeah, I'm
Absolutely.
just Yeah, I think it's all sounds amazing. It would be also, imagine if the rumors are true that apparently the Saudis are looking to buy the airport. I don't know how much truth there is in that. But I think it probably, when you look at the airport and the state of it, I mean, there's so much potential of Newcastle kind of airport, but they do need to do a lot of work on it and bring it up to something that you would see in the Middle East countries, or just raise the profile of Newcastle Airport. And I think, you need the monies and the vision to be able to do that. And if something would happen with the Saudis, you know that they would be prepared to spend that big money and really increase the type of flights with their own airlines to to places that we potentially could go to and we're not going to at this stage. And I think all of that would be huge for the region.
Yeah, the airport's only just got back on track post COVID. So this summer, their numbers are estimated to be an increase from a slight increase from the pre-COVID time. So since COVID, obviously flights had all stopped during COVID. In the years after, they were below the number that they were previously operating at. So this is literally the first summer coming where they're going to be operating at a number that's slightly higher than what they had pre-COVID. So it took them, 4-5 years to get back on track.
A long time though, that isn't it? I mean, is that the case in other airports, Amit, as well? I don't suppose that's the case in Heathrow or Manchester, right? Because they're just
not in some of the bigger ones, but definitely in some of the smaller local airports. So there's airports have brackets. So you've got your likes of your Heathrows and Manchesters and stuff, and then you've got like your Leeds and Newcastle, like all of them come under one bracket. In that second bracket, it's very much the case for all. I have a regular meeting with the airport with regards to the estate and the local area, and they talk through the numbers there. And for that style of airport, for that demographics of the airport, there definitely is they're on track like all of the other airports are, but they're not behind. Also, it won the airport won the best airport award in not all airports worldwide, but in its category in terms of the size of it and the number of footfall. It won best airport. I'm not sure how it could have won best airport.
I would beg to question. I mean, there's potential for it to be the best, but I think they need to also understand the airports it's a bit like, for me, the way I look at it, train stations. They're so important because it's kind of the lasting memory or the first memory that people have when they come into the city. And I just think that what's happened to our train station is absolute shambles, in that they absolutely got it all wrong in terms of when they did the redevelopment work.
The traffic flow.
The atrium that they created, they destroyed the traffic flow. And it's just when you want to drop off some business or some friends or family that have come into Newcastle and you want to drop them off nicely to the station, that's a final memory. They're going to leave a wonderful city, and the chaos that they create and the frustration and the pity that people have when you try and take them there, and you have to kind of park outside or on double yellows, or you park in a taxi bay or A, B, C, and D, because there's not a physical way of getting into the train station. It's just awful. And I
was stuck in a loop.
Yeah,
I was literally stuck in. I think 3 times I just ended up going around the same loop because I didn't know how to get out of it.
But I mean, it's horrendous in that the city council don't even think about the social consequences of their poor actions and how that leaves a bitter taste or a bad taste in the mouth of visitors coming to the city. Now, you've got to really think about all of that because it's so important. And we as locals can see and feel that, and we take innate responsibility. For example, in my restaurants, if there's people that come from out of town, tourists, we give them special care because we are their memory of the city, and that's so important. I think the city council really need to look at that. And then going back to the airport, now, do you know that if you want to drop somebody off at the airport and you're going to just literally drop off their baggage or their luggage, they charge you £5 for that? Look, we're going to drop off some. Again, it could be business, it could be guests, whatever it may be. But why on earth do you have to have that? And then they do have a secret part, at the back. If you
Well,
just know about it or you don't.
a money-saving tip is short stay 2, where you get
Yeah, of
15
course,
minutes free.
which they secretly don't mention it anywhere. You have to discover it through local knowledge.
Yeah.
And it's only like a minute away. Now, I would do that 100%. I only discovered that the other day, and I would do it 100% because, not because of the fiver, I just feel it's unjust and it's just wrong. And you'd much rather do that because you feel a lot happier that you don't feel you've been ripped off. Now, they have to be really careful of those things. And also, if you try and get a taxi from the airport taxis that are out there, they just charge you an arm and a leg, and it's like wrong. It's
Jalf,
totally
I
wrong.
literally live minimum distance from the airport.
Yeah.
It's one of those where you normally have to pay the minimum fare because it's so close. And from the airport to home, it's £18.
It's just, again,
£18.
I think there's really short-sightedness from the airport that they're not looking at fixing these things, because that is, like, when I say about socially, it's so important, as opposed to, yes, monetary. I mean, yeah, you need to generate revenue, but not by ripping the public off, which is what a lot of public, and I'm not the only one that's mentioning this. If you feel ripped off, then your memory is a negative one. And I think the airport and these councils, they really need to understand the gateways to our city, whether people are coming in and leaving the city, whether it be the gateway of drivers coming in, what they see. So, for example, you know the 55 degrees north roundabout.
Yeah. I
remember speaking to an urban plan developer, really well-to-do guy, many years ago, and his parents were French ambassadors, and he came here to study, and he was explaining to me about how he's involved in the design of new cities. And if you were to do Newcastle again, 55 degrees north, the big 1960s block that you've got, which they decided to, it used to be the old BT building, they decided to turn it into flats. And he said that, look, the best thing they could have done is knock that down, because that's a gateway into the city. Knock that down and have an iconic structure there, which should have epitomized the city and what it's all about. And around it, you can have the coffee shops and A, B, C, and D. And at certain moments, you take away the commercial value of it, but then you instill something, a legacy for the city. And again, that wasn't done. They didn't do it. They decided to go for what they've done. But then they're going to have and there's not that there's anything wrong, but you're going to have a big, massive KFC on that roundabout, which on a historic building. So you've got this grade 2 listed building in the corner, right? And now I've seen big KFC signs, which I feel that's just so not a correct representation of the city in a grade 2 listed building in an iconic location.
Is that not just a billboard? Because they had a Sephora billboard there as well, didn't they?
Well, I hope it's just a billboard.
I think it might just be an advertising billboard.
I don't know. I don't know if I saw something saying opening soon, but I don't know. Either way, if you imagine though, as a strategy, if I'm wrong and it's a billboard, hey, I put my hands up. Hopefully it is. But if it's not a billboard, then that would be the completely wrong strategy for the city. KFC absolutely should exist. It's a brand that's, it's an international brand, and we have them. And if they want to open more, absolutely no problem at all. But I think the positioning of certain brands to represent a certain aura of a city, I think it really needs to be thought about long and hard before we give them planning permissions away here, there, and everywhere. So,
is that easy to do though in this day and age where businesses are closing, retail is really struggling in terms of footfall and bricks and mortar, because more people are turning to online options? Do city centres, because if you look at the facts and figures for the city centre, the numbers are going down in terms of the number of people visiting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just only, I guess there need to be economic decisions, but strategic. My point was really more on a strategic basis, how important the gateway of a city is for the experience of people and tourists from outside the city, whether it be friends, family, business, or tourists. That needs to be really thought about long and hard, and we need to make sure that that's as slick and as smooth as possible. And the memory shouldn't be underestimated, because those individuals are going to go speaking positively about their friends, their colleagues around the world, and they're going to come back if they reckon, oh, actually, there's this great city, in the north of England. Because the fact is, we're not a very well-known city in terms of international recognition. Because if you think about Manchester and what Manchester, the football, has done for the international recognition of Manchester, whether it be Man United historically or Man City, when I go away, and if you go to Dubai and you say, oh, where are you from? You have to kind of, you can't just say Newcastle upon Tyne. You have to say Newcastle upon Tyne, and you have to have a caveat to then reinforce what Newcastle upon Tyne is and who it is and who we are. And really that is done by the way of the Premier League.
Yeah.
And
No,
the
you're
football.
right.
And I think what's going to happen, hopefully, with Newcastle getting into finals and hopefully winning something and going up to the Premier League and getting further deeply into the FA Cup, and hopefully as the football club grows and they invest in it, that's going to put Newcastle on the international map for sure. And there's going to be more and more people coming in to the city. So just the gateway, it just needs to be really well thought about, whether it be the train station, whether it be the motorways, whether it be the airport, whether it be the interaction of tourist guests and ABC, and at every point. And I don't even think that they have an initiative for that. So maybe it's the International Space Station, whatever you're doing there, if it's looking at things internationally, maybe that's an initiative that you could potentially take, where you're liaising with all the key partners.
That is literally on route from the airport. But I was just thinking about what you were saying there in terms of gateways. Actually, so you leave Newcastle Airport, and ultimately you haven't got anything that sits there and goes, oh, this is a lovely city. Because you go straight onto the roundabout, and then straight onto that little bit that takes you all the way to Kingston Park.
Yeah.
And even then, there's nothing really there. It's just
not
the
really.
motorway.
Yeah.
You come out the central station, and if you're in the car or taxi, you drive straight over past the Centre of Life, and literally across the road from the Centre of Life, you've got a bunch of tatty takeaways that are there for Friday and Saturday night. So again, no gateway of the city from either platform, have you? The only one you've got is actually when you're driving in from the south, you've got the Angel of the North.
Yeah, and that driving in is brilliant. Obviously, the Metro Radio Arena is going to be gone, but whatever they do there, it needs to be really well thought about. And then obviously you're coming in. It has improved a lot, though. I mean, can you remember back in the day when you had all of the food, the clothes manufacturing units there, and you had there was, I don't know if you're going to be too young, man, to remember the Arnold something higher place where there was a guy with a sign like this, and in that area there was it's improved so much when the Holiday Inn came in and all of that stuff. So it is
you've told me I'm young. I'm just gonna take it.
Yeah, young lad, man. So that gateway in, I think that's really nice. The gateway in from that position and the gateway out is brilliant. But I think my point is there needs to be they need to think about things in a lot more detail. Even when you're thinking about car parking, dropping people off, A, B, C, and D. So hey, that's another one for you to think about, Kevin, and maybe propose it to Amar and Co. And I'm sure you can get the bodies together to take some kind of initiative to think about that. And I think it's going to be more and more important as time goes by, because Newcastle as a city is going to become more recognised internationally.
Do you think we're doing stuff like the MOBA Awards were here?
Yeah, I think
this
so.
week.
I think so. I think that's a coup, isn't it? And hopefully there's more and more things like that happen. I mean, it's a shame that conference centre, I don't know what's going on with that conference centre, the new one, next to the Baltic, because that was supposed to have opened, or the work certainly should have started already. And that would have been a game changer, Amit, because you would have had Labour Party or Conservative Party conferences and things like that. So we need, and that would have been what, 20,000 people, the kind of latest conference centre kind of set up to cater for all the things, custom built, well thought out. to really make its mark. And that would be important for the city, but they really need to get on with it. Whatever's delaying that, they need to push that through.
I'm just having a look. So it is delayed. It's obviously a lot more. It's costing more. So it was planned to open last year, but construction's yet to start. The estimate the cost has risen by 90 million to 350 million.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, if you've got the site, you've got the money, you've got the costing, why did you not kick it off? I mean, that's what I mean. I think that's a lot of bureaucracy, isn't it? Because if you imagine that was an independent operator, there's no way he's going to be sitting on his laurels. They would be making it happen because they know the time costs so much money, and something that would make such a big difference to the city. Who is delaying that? What are you doing? Why can't you get around the table and put your heads together?
Well, I'm assuming that based on this, that they're obviously getting grants, so they're probably just trying to facilitate a lot of that build cost through grants, because they've just been awarded a 20 million grant as well.
Yeah, but if you don't start the works, your 20 million,
it's going to not be worth anything anyway.
Yeah, in another 2 years, if you're going to keep on going around hoops and circles and get nowhere, your 20 million is going to just diminish in value, isn't it, as a constant?
Yeah, but there's no date anymore. So there's no completion date. There's no target date now for that, which is a bit of a shame, because actually it would have looked pretty iconic right next to the Sage and in between the Sage and the Baltic. This beautiful conference centre, but it
would have been brilliant. And also, I think that's the trigger for Metro Radio Arena, if that's what it's still called. They would have knocked that down. Utility arena. So that would have gone, and they would have moved from there to there. And they could have done lined up some great events, and really put Newcastle on the map. So we do need things like that to happen. That's going to make a big difference. I think hopefully the new football stadium.
Actually, you say Newcastle, but the Baltic and the Sage and this new conference centre is all Gateshead, isn't it?
Well, and it's Newcastle, really, man. It's there, but it's better. It's better to have the noise on that side, and they're not disturbing the residents here in Newcastle, right?
Do you think it would be better to have Gateshead Council move into Newcastle Council and do this? Because they seem to be doing a good job, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so. To me, I really don't see. Well, on the riverfront, to me, it's Newcastle. If you go beyond the riverfront, okay, Gateshead is Gateshead. But the riverfront is definitely part of Newcastle, the way that I look at it.
Oh, what? Oh, so the south side of the Tyne.
Yeah, we'll take the nice bits, man.
We'll taking
the nice
400 meters, and that's all classed as Newcastle. So the boundary changes.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm happy with that. To
be fair.
It's a good little walk along the quayside. They've generally made it quite nice, both on the Newcastle and on the Gateshead side.
Yeah, brilliant. No, they've done a fantastic job. You have to take it out of the Gateshead City Council. Even the stuff that they did. So. Yeah, the stuff that they did by the river with that development, from being a derelict car park, from whether you call it Tuxedo Royale, the ship, or wherever they used to call it. It was derelict for so many years, and they took the initiative in 2016-17, and they opened by the river with those container kitchens on 2018, and that really livened up that space. That's closed down for now, and they're thinking of a newer scheme on what to do with it. They've got a lot of amazing proposals, including taking one of the the foundations of the Tyne Bridge, the brick kind of pillar that it's huge in there. They were looking at turning that into some street food type of venues and stuff. So they've got a lot of interesting things happening there. I think that's after the Tyne Bridge works finish. So we'll see how that all materializes.
Yeah, interesting. Loads of stuff going on in the northeast, so that's really good. And with the way that the football is and whatnot, that you can see that investment coming in. You can see that drive, that flood coming into the northeast as well. So I think the next 5 to 10 years looks really exciting.
100%.
Lots of development. There's new restaurants opening. There's like we've got so much variety of cuisine now and places to eat that we've never had. Do you know what I mean? And they're doing well. A lot of people want to go out. It's different from 20 years ago where you would only go out once a month or on special occasions. Now you come home and you can't be bothered to cook. Oh, let's go out. Do you know what I mean? It's become part of the day-to-day routine of life. And I think that's really thriving for the Northeast and our economy as well, because we've got some amazing places, as you well are aware. Any new opportunities coming up? Building new restaurants at all? Any new thoughts? Because you played outside of the Indian theme, didn't you?
Yeah, no, at the moment, I mean, no. I think whilst overall there's really great potential for the future of the city, especially with the football club and all the initiatives that they're taking, because that all benefits the city. I think generally, though, I think for our perspective, as a small group, we're going to consolidate this year because we really need to be careful because of the spectacular rise in costs. It's having such a huge impact on how you operate that you really, really need to be careful. For example, I'll give you one example. We had I think it was a 4-year agreement on our utility bills. I think it was a gas or an electric bill, and it was around about 25 grand a month for one of the restaurants, and that's gone up to like nearly 50. Nothing you can do about it. The rates were all organized by Phil, who's in your office or works with yourselves, like top guy gives you the best possible prices, done everything very, very openly, scoured the market, give you the best prices, and the best prices were very, very, very expensive compared to the previous contract prices. Nothing that he can do about it. It's just how it's moved on. So from that context, you just have to be very careful because I think the costs have become so high, the margins are so tight on what you have left that you're always on that kind of thin line. That line has become thin from having a business that's going to thrive to all of a sudden a few bad weeks you could go on the other side, and that's quite dangerous. So we're very cautious about that, and with the cost increases happening pretty soon, with the minimum wages going up, the NIs going up, you're going to be hit with another 20%. Now 20%, you can't just legislate for businesses absorbing a 20% increases in anywhere. If it was 1 or 2%, it's frightening. When it's a 20%, they say it's going to be a net rise of 20% on the costs. Now let's see how many places are able to stay afloat in the next few weeks and months. There's just been an announcement just last week of Tally Tray, a restaurant that they've got 2 or 3 branches. They're closing up shop. Saying that, there's some great restaurants coming into the city. You've got from Nico by 6. They're coming on Grey Street in the old Co-op building. Fantastic restaurant. Yeah. Everyone's probably aware of Mowgli coming in. Another street food restaurant, a good chain. It's got a number of restaurants around the country. They're coming in near the Granger Market. I think they'll do their thing. Beyond that, there's always kind of, things always going to be happening. There's a massive development, where, in front of the gate where the Debenhams is. There's a thing, I think it's called Freight Train or Freight something. It's a concept that's coming over from Manchester. And it's going to be a food quarter, basically. But it's going to be
top open air, top floor.
Something like that, a food court. And it's going to have a combination of food,
entertainment. It's
food, drink.
And it's also going to be the biggest, I think, in the country.
Yeah,
the biggest.
So they're galvanizing a lot of local operators because they want all the local operators to go up there and be involved. Now that's going to be huge. It's going to make a huge impact in terms of in terms of the development of it. It's going to cost millions of pounds. Now I think that if that's a plan that they've got, they're a huge company. Um, no matter whether it's successful or not, I think it's going to change the dynamic of the city centre's leisure scene because
Have you seen a picture of what it's going to look like?
yeah, because they've been in touch with me a few months ago, and way before they had made any announcements and stuff. I mean, I've had a look in at the one in Manchester and stuff. It's huge. It's going to be a huge. They're going to take in a massive space, but my reservations are on something like that. And also, just don't forget that you've got the stack that's opened in St James's Park, but you've got a new stack that's opening where, do you know the fire station is? Near on Pilgrim Street. There's a new stack opening on Pilgrim Street where you're going to have about another 20 more sites. The fire station's turning into a big, massive hotel called Gotham, like a really well-to-do hotel. The old Dickinson and Dees building right on the riverfront is turning into a nice big hotel as well. So there's a few great developments, but my worry is, I mean, when you have all of these big, massive operators from outside of Newcastle coming in, looking at it and how to, bring more leisure into the city. Newcastle's still relatively small, so is there going to be the population to be able to cater for all of these brand new developments and X amount of square footage put aside for the leisure sector?
But isn't that the same argument that I've just had from, like, if we look at when we were growing up, how many restaurants were out there? So I mean you, I'm a little bit younger, but probably not that much, to be fair. But we could probably count right now which restaurants, Indian restaurants, there were when we were growing up. We would know them all, and we knew we knew who run them.
Like,
we were supplying them all the stuff.
Yeah, the likes of Satyans of the world and the Kamals and the Vujans and
Last Days of the Raj, the Rakhi,
Tandoori Nights.
Exactly. So similar. So do you know what I mean? We know them all. But if you now start counting the amount of Indian restaurants out there, it's probably 500 times the amount that were there previously.
I don't think so, you know.
Oh, I think they're just everywhere.
No, there's a lot of the little ones, you know, that have closed down. There's probably more in the city centre, but then there was a lot more back then, I think.
I feel like there's a lot now, but then I also feel like there's a lot more Turkish and Lebanese now. There's a lot more Greek now.
China's evolved.
I feel like there's a lot more restaurants now, and actually we're able to cater and they're able to survive well. Do you know what I mean? And I think stuff like these leisure things, because all it'll do is it'll just take something away from somewhere else. So it might take it away from a takeaway. Someone might go, what's the point of getting a takeaway and paying the same price? We might as well go out and eat at the Stack, because actually it's not that expensive. Or, like, I hardly go to the cinema now, only because I sit there and go, oh, two of us go to the cinema, it's going to cost us 20 quid each for tickets, popcorn and stuff. Might as well just go out on an evening and have dinner and have the experience of something else and just wait until that movie comes on the TV or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Also, TVs are a lot bigger now than what they used to be. So watching it on a 14-inch TV compared to a 70-inch TV is different now at home. So you don't need the cinema experience because you can have the cinema experience at home. So I think we've got I know Newcastle's small, but I think there's still enough people in here that can still make these places survive. Also, what it might do is, unfortunately, it might knock out some of the really smaller players that are just making ends meet and knock them out of it. But in order to get bigger and better stuff, I think you've got to evolve. Things have got to just on a cyclical basis. Like I don't know. I'm excited about the city centre. Development. I've seen pictures. Spice FM Facebook News shared it a few weeks ago. So if you want to have a look at pictures, head to Spice FM Facebook. It's on there. But I think it's good. I think that when you talk your gateway in what's in Newcastle and stuff like that, maybe it's not just the drive in and what you see when you first enter the city, but it's also what the city has to offer.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, our city has got an incredible nucleus, unlike other cities. So, for example, if you look at Leeds, I still don't know where the heart of the city centre is. But we know the heart of Newcastle city centre, it's going to be, let's say it's Gray's Monument.
Yeah.
Northumberland Street, Gray's Monument, that's the heart. And the way that the city spreads out, and you go down the hill, down Gray Street, and you go down to the river, it's just spectacular.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Oh, it's amazing. And then the fact that you've got two brilliant universities, literally in the city centre. You've got all of the vibrancy of all the students in the city centre, because we shouldn't underestimate the importance of our universities and what they do for the city. Then you've got the probably only stadium in the whole of the country, which is literally in the city centre, St James's Park. And the ability to be able to accommodate 52,000 people coming into the city centre. Think about that. I mean, you know, be able to, whether you've got the metro, that we're one of the very few cities that have metros. So all of those things are just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. But I think we just need, probably what's missing, I would say that there needs to be, if you are going to look to bring in and develop the city centre, you probably need to develop the city centre living, as what Manchester did over the last few years, where there's big, nice apartment blocks in the city where people decide to, yep, I want to live in the city. I don't need a car. Everything is here in the city. I can walk to work. I can go to A, B, C, and D. I think that's probably one thing that we could work more on.
I visit Manchester quite a lot, and some of my mates live right in that city centre, and it's great because you go, you park, and that's it. You don't use your car for the weekend.
Yeah,
you're literally just walking to the city centre. You're walking from here to there. It's beautiful buildings. There's a lot going on there as well. It's a very spread out city centre, but there's always something going on. There's always shops. There's always people. So you don't feel like walking 20 minutes, half an hour. It doesn't feel like you've walked loads because you're just looking and there's stuff going on. But I think that'll happen here. I think it might not be as such as big, tall rise city centre buildings, but we've got new houses being built all over the city, everywhere, and the Lord Mayor, the council, they're all looking at transport links and better transport, trying to keep the cost of public transport down as well. So there's an element of that to maybe people live slightly outside of the city centre, because we've got a lot of green space, Great Park, Gateshead. There's a lot of green spaces there where they're building the houses. They just need to get better transport links into the city, and that's what we've missed out on. I think we've if you look at Great Park, a massive area, but they didn't think to say, right, let's extend the metro from South Gosforth to there to then stop the flow of traffic of people with cars. And that's the bit that I feel like has been overlooked in the city, is the transport links, public transport links outside of the city centre. Metro's great if you're in the city centre or if you live near a metro station. But if you don't live near a metro station, then car is the only option that you've got.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And if you were in Great Park and you did have a metro that was coming directly into Monument, St James's Park or Haymarket, the amount of people would think, actually, let's just jump on the metro for the day. It's hassle-free, dead easy. And again, I think we shouldn't underestimate the influence that the government from the Middle East, like the Saudis, could have on the city very positively, because they're all big thinkers. And unfortunately, and it saddens me to say, that countries in the Middle East, whether it be Dubai, UAE, Qatar, and Saudi, they're miles ahead in terms of the mindsets that they have, in terms of everything that we've just discussed, the infrastructure that they have, the connections, the state of the metros and stuff. They're just incredible that they have. They're so fast, they're so slick. So we could certainly have more of that here in our city, and I think it would become a much more of a vibrant, dynamic city, and propel us to being one of the best cities in the country outside of London, really, because who is there? There's Birmingham, there's Manchester, the very big cities. You have Edinburgh. After that, really, we're up there, aren't we?
Yeah, no, we definitely are. And actually, some of the work that we've been doing over the last few weeks with the Awesome Women campaign, Become Awesome, also just shows what talent we've got in the region. So, been working with a number of Asian ladies from Newcastle, from the West End, who have all got the ambition to set up their own business, but maybe just through family life and kids and everything else just hadn't been able to. So now they've got that little bit of a drive, a bit of an ambition, and they've got a bit of free time. So we're going through this whole course of how to start up your own business and teaching them things that they need to be thinking of, like their customer model, who's their customer, like where are their revenue streams, etc. All that kind of stuff that you would think. But we're doing it really simply, bite-sized chunks, so it makes more sense rather than going write a business plan. Like, where do we start? If you do it in bite-sized chunks, it makes life a lot easier. So we're doing sessions with them, and oh my God, Jeff, like the talent and the ambition that these ladies have got. So forget like the bigger businesses that we're talking about, the chains that are coming and doing stuff. But we've got so much individual, independent talent here. And these, like, all of their ideas are amazing, and they'll all launch guaranteed within a year. They'll all launch their businesses within a year. It won't stay on paper. And I can see literally within the next 2 to 3 years, these businesses doing really well.
Well, I'm really looking forward, and I'm really intrigued as to seeing this come into fruition. And obviously what they have is they have a pathway, don't they? A pathway to be able to take from the idea generation point, which is probably at the beginning, very, very early stages of a business.
Yeah.
For that to be able to come into the real world and create a business, you're often, if you didn't have what you're doing with Awesome Women, but you're creating a pathway for them so they know the route. And that's something that I didn't have. I didn't have anyone. And that's why I benefited so much from ABC, because we did things on the hoof with kind of, just your gut instincts or family knowledge on business and A, B, C, and D. Who were you going to go to get advice? Are you going to go to the bank who then say, oh, fill in this business plan? I'm thinking, oh my God, what do you do here? So if anyone of the people that are involved in Awesome Women, if they have to create a business plan, or they have to understand the route, the entry into a business, that they have all of that, and that's so valuable, and that could really create that solid foundation. Obviously, they would have the idea, the concept, and they have to have a little bit of a vision on what they can see and how this concept and idea can work into a real feasible business. But to be able to get that real world kind of understanding and that pathway is invaluable. And they should be really lucky that they're involved with yourselves, that you can give them that.
Yeah, and I think it's very important. Well, one of the most important things that Amit, when he was leading this along with Amar and I as well, is more than most of the times it's that confidence and reassurance is what they need, because they've got phenomenal ideas. We've, in fact, one of the ladies had made some cake for us, which is out of the world. It was exceptional. She had something that was of high quality. She knew that this could be a business. It's just the confidence that holds them back more than most of the time. So beyond just getting a whole plan together, the initiative is to empower them as well, empower them to go ahead and take that step, take that leap of faith. So it's we're hoping to scale this up is what it is, and we're hoping to get this to be on a level where almost it becomes like a test bed for them to try all these things out and then see what that market looks like. So connecting them to people like yourself is, a great initiative for them to see what, from a business owner's perspective, what those challenges are. So I think that's very relevant within this conversation.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. Hopefully, I'm really looking forward to seeing all of these stories in the next few months and hopefully sooner rather than later within the next few years. And I'm not talking about 3, 4 years, I'm talking about 1 or 2 years.
No, I'm excited because actually, when you're doing this, you get to know them, don't you? It's not an email back and forth. It's not a business plan form that they're filled out and you're just reading a form from someone. Actually, we're working with these where we're talking through business principles, um, and and actually it's also a bit of a, like you said, when we were growing up and when we were starting our own businesses, there wasn't anyone to sit there and get advice from, and actually the rest of the community weren't likely to give advice because weirdly enough we've got this thing in our community where you don't want somebody else to succeed.
Everyone likes to keep things close to the chest, don't they?
Well, yeah, which but I think the next generation's changed.
Yeah.
I think the next generation has changed. I don't think anyone's like as thingy there. But remember, it was a tough time. A lot of people had just emigrated. They were building and starting a life, and therefore, it was very much, oh, I don't want. And some of our people have the tendencies to totally nick ideas
They're good at that.
um, and do that. So, but now I think it's very different. But we've got some great ideas, and we're looking to take this program further. So we've done one session, we've trialed it out. It's been well received. The testimonies back from the girls, from the ladies, is amazing. I also feel satisfaction in being in the sessions and delivering and giving advice and stuff. I had a one-to-one session yesterday for a couple of hours, honing in on a particular idea and going through the business plan and the model and all of the elements and talking through it in detail. And again, that for me just felt like, right, other than writing it up, feels like we've got everything there. We know what we're doing. We know who we're targeting. We know what we're going to chart. We know everything. Right now, it's just literally coming up with the name, because that's sometimes the thing that you leave till the end once you sort of know what you're trying to do. Coming up with the name and then literally like launching it, basically. Do you know what I mean? So, and again, sometimes because we're all busy and we've got loads of stuff to do, what we're doing is sort of setting homework, right? Okay, obviously we've got Ramzan coming now, but by a certain point, can you have this completed? By the next 2 weeks, can you have that completed? So that actually over time, they build up their knowledge, their pack, they're thinking about it in their own time, ready to actually then launch. So it is really exciting, and I'm excited to lift and shift this process and package to other areas of the region, but also to other communities and other people who now have heard of it that maybe didn't first or didn't have the time then and will have the time. And then these ladies who start their business and start running it will become mentors for the ones that are then coming on the course.
Yeah,
and it's ultimately paying it forward, isn't it? The help and the support we've given these ladies, they'll hopefully give that to the next lot, and it pays that forward.
I think people are usually always very appreciative of any help to put people on the right path. If you imagine, I mean, you're just talking about like name generation and stuff. Now, some people come up with some really ridiculous names that have just they follow their gut instincts. They haven't had.
Give me one. Name and shame.
I mean, well, I've just been to the Middle East, right? Been in Dubai, and they've got this thing called Gulf food, right? How would you spell it? How can it be creative with the name Gulf food? So they've spelled it Gul, right? And they've got FOOD. So, but they're trying to make the one F to do the job of a double barrel F. But it's like Gulf food or Gulf food. You cannot say that is grammatically correct, and you can't call it Gulf food. Now, that is a basic schoolboy error, and they probably got too much pride now to go back and say, actually, we got it wrong. If they wanted to be creative on the logo, and you got the GU, and then you make two funky Fs next to each other and put them together, do whatever you wish. But the basic of it cannot be as they've done it. That's like a massive.
But they haven't even got a double funky F in the logo, have they?
No, they haven't. It's just so ridiculous.
I've just Googled it.
And I'm thinking that particular, so whoever started that off, at some point they should have said, excuse me, stop right there. That's not correct. Grammatically, that's wrong. So don't do it. So that's what I mean. At that stage, really, really early stage, when people are out the box and thinking of like really cool things and A, B, C, and D, and you need to stop them. So I had this crazy idea many, many years ago. You have I had this great concept of doing a pizza and an Indian together, right? And you got like the Italian Mamma Mia, and then I thought, the word Mamma Mia. So we had Mama as the Italian, and we drew this Italian lady, like a fat lady looking Italian. And then we had Mr. Mia, like the Bengali surname, Mia. So we had him with like a mustache, and we combined them two together. And we said, yeah, we're going to call a restaurant Mamma Mia. And gladly we didn't. But the point is, you come up with some really mad things at times, and someone needs to tell you, that's the most stupidest thing that you're thinking, mate. Just don't do it. Get it correct. And that's your foundation, right? So hopefully when these ladies are thinking and have name generation and A, B, C, and D, you guys will be able to there to guide them to make sure that something is cool, quirky. We're rambling on so much. I think our time maybe is up.
No, we've got a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
We've got a couple of minutes.
Good. Yeah, so look, I think it's been a great show. Great to hear what you've been doing at the international what is it? International?
I know it's a mouthful.
ISS.
Yeah, ISS Airview. Yeah.
Yeah. But we did cover a lot of great subjects about our beloved city, and finishing it off with hopefully some budding new entrepreneurs coming out from Austin Women, which would be amazing for us all to see and experience.
We've also got the award nominations still open for the awards this year, and we've got, I think next week we'll have some exciting news about the awards as well that we can share and release. So stuff's brewing in the background with that, and then also actually we've got 2 curry clubs planned for the next few weeks. So if you literally go to our website abconnections.org, they're actually on the homepage. We've got 2. So if you're in healthcare, so whether or not you're a pharmacy or whether or not you've got nursing homes or care homes or any of that kind of stuff, we have got a curry club for you, but there is limited space and limited tickets for people. So I would urge people to get on to our Facebook page, have a look at that, and then search for that.
Brilliant.
And yeah, there's other exciting stuff happening with ABC, which we're going to announce in the next coming 2-3 weeks as well. So honestly, just stay tuned. We've got a LinkedIn page, we've got a Facebook page, so just go connect to them, and we'll be sharing the news there. And it's all about local people. It's all about us locally, and it's all about making our region better. So we're not sitting there promoting like London stuff and anything else. It's stuff that we're doing locally, and also where your voice into the organisations and everything. So I'm working quite closely with Kim on the child poverty to see what we can do with that. But as part of that, there's the whole business forum and the business stuff that she's doing. So that's all really exciting as well.
Brilliant. Gentlemen, it's been good company. Lovely to see you both and catch up. And hopefully we'll do it again soon. I don't know what Amar's movements are and where he's going.
Well, we'll do it again next week because he's not here next week.
All right, brilliant. Excellent.
Brilliant.
Forward to it.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
Bye. See you later. Bye-bye.